In this episode in the Health Spot with Omar podcast, Saira Hayati, a digital creator, social media personality who's built a big online community by sharing relatable lifestyle content, insights on making money make sense, and engaging videos across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
We have our level of living, but there's stuff that goes on above us that we're not familiar with. I'm no longer required, as in I've been replaced by AI or robotics. I'm not doing anything that's beneficial to that system. So now out there right now, find out what every individual's carbon footprint limit is and see what it
I want
says.
to touch on digital ID because there's a big shift happening.
But I just didn't realise how cocooned and bubbled in their own lives everybody is. And the reason why they are so lost in their own life is because
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the guests. They do not reflect the hosts or the Health Spot with Omar podcast personal views or opinions. We do not take responsibility for any ideas expressed during the podcast interview. The information contained in this show is for information purposes only. It is not intended for medical advice and should not replace your relationship with your healthcare practitioner. We encourage listeners to do further research following all episodes this podcast.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
oh, it was to do with this. That's why. Unplugged it. I'm actually sick.
Oh no.
I'm very sick. I'm not a little bit sick. I'm Saira. Hayati doesn't get sick. And now she's sick. We
Well,
came
you've been
back.
doing a lot of traveling, haven't you?
You know, it's Umrah. It was virus. Cough, cold, aches, fever. Yesterday, down. Don't even talk to me. Today I feel better. So I made some halva, you see. So that does it.
That's it.
Got me better, yeah. And pilled ups. What was it? Thursday? Friday night. Friday night I went down. Saturday I was down. Forget it. I was like, I can't even walk. I need to go to bed. I know I did. I just was thinking, how the hell am I going to get through the flight? I tell you what made me get through the flight was Shilajit. I had food poisoning in Djibouti. That's probably another reason why I caught the bug, because I don't catch bugs. So when your stomach is down, your
Yeah.
immune system goes down through the floor. So I literally came out of Djibouti back to the UK for 2 days, still with an upset stomach,
Yeah.
went to Saudi, but I'd started taking Shilajit. And Shilajit, it clears toxins, but it
It does.
kills bacteria, antibacterial. So within 2 days of taking Shilajit, my stomach was back. A lot of
Where do you get
people
your
passed
Shilajit
on.
from then? Because there's quite a few places that sell it. I will say you need to make sure what you check where you're getting that stuff from because there's so many people selling it now.
Oh, I know. And I've had lots of it. You can imagine, to me, lots of people are sending it. Promote this. So they send it to me, and I can't believe the difference that there is in Shilajit. Such a significant difference. I spent an hour. There was one guy that kept on my case, and I was like, I'm done. I've got what I need. Thank you. But he wouldn't leave up. So I said, all right, you know what? I've got some time. Let's get on a phone call. Spent time with him. His Shilajit is sourced 1,600 meters, would it be? Feet? 1,000
Yeah.
feet? 16,000 feet.
Yeah.
1,000 feet. So it's like the higher it is, the better it is. And I had another one that I believed was quite pure. And then I tested his, and he gave me all the little methods of testing it. Did that, taste. But the biggest difference is how you feel. People go, oh, you can't feel instantly different. I said, I can, because I go to the gym. So you can't taste it and go, whoa, check me out, magic pill. But the minute you go to the gym and you start pulling weights or your endurance, you notice which one is better. And his was better. And I've been taking a little bit every single day because I'm 50 in January, right? So menopausal.
Wow.
And there was something they said about women that look younger than their age. I can't remember what the reason was. And I agreed to all of them, actually.
Well, you're clearly doing something right. Let's just say that. You're doing something right. You're going to the gym. You're getting the sunshine, I'm sure.
And now, God, yeah, this is not me. I was checking myself out. So I was going, that's a different color. That's a different color. That's a different color. Everything's a different. My feet, my ankles, all of that. Obviously, exposure is greater. Everybody's completely different color. But alhamdulillah, it's nice to be able to get the sunshine because it does make a difference. Sun does. But I mean, it's not like I've had that my entire life. I've been stuck in an office my entire life. It's only recently that this change has occurred. But Malaysia definitely made a difference. Peace, you know what? Peace.
Yeah.
Less stress. Brits don't realize how stressed we are.
We are chronically stressed. It's like
Huge.
there's a book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers.
All
And
right.
I don't know if you've read it before. Such an interesting book. And it basically says that the reason why zebras don't get ulcers is because they don't have to worry about mortgages, they don't have to worry about bills, they just
Yeah.
have to worry about not getting eaten by a lion, and that's it. That's the only stress they have. But the stresses that we have, when you compare that to humans,
Yeah.
it's just
It's
never
not
ending.
just that though, is it? I mean, I dealt in finance and I've just written a financial journal kind of guide and I'm writing it down. I'm thinking, blimey, this is quite overwhelming. To me, it's easy because I did it my whole life.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I'm quite, what I do is I pocket things. So say this is my home, I get it into a little system and now that's pocketed. So for example, you know, all the bills, etc., all of that is all there, it's pocketed, it's done, it's dealt with. And then I might have my business, as long as, you know, we hit all the figures, everything's right, the cycle turns, that's now pocketed. What am I going to do next? I'll do that. And people say to me, how the hell do you do as much as you do? And it makes sense because once I've got it up and running as a system, a bit like even home with your kids, right? You've got your home, everything has to be in a system. Once it's in a system, once it's running, it's taken care of, you now are free to relax or find something else that's going to be your driver. And then there was one time I think when my ex-husband said to me, and I was only in my 20s, and he said, how much mortgage have we got? And I said to him, you don't need to worry about it. But I think at that point I had about £3 million worth of mortgage debt. I know, but you know what? I never thought about it. I just didn't think about it. You just keep going.
But is that because the systems in place didn't need you to worry about it because they're just getting paid off? Or?
No, because what it was, I bought portfolio. So I bought a house and then I bought another house and I bought another house. You know, you finance the house, you buy another house, that old system.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
of course, you put a good tenant in the property. And so up until a point of about 6 houses, I was looking after it myself while I was working in the bank. And that's when I left the bank and went into property management with my friend. So now it was even better because it was a system inside a system, right? And then that just took care of it. All I had to do was raise the funds, buy the house, throw it to the team, you get on with it. And then the money would come in and it would cover itself. I used to make sure there was a profit and loss you do, but as long as there was a positive balance. My mum said to me once, she said, don't worry about spending or how much money is in the bank. Just buy what you need. And sometimes buy what you want. Don't ever not buy what you want because you have to spoil yourself sometimes. I relied on that theory. It was difficult. It's a bit like saying, tawakkal Allah, isn't it, really? That's what she's saying to me. Just keep working hard and the rest will happen itself.
But working hard, I don't know. These days, it seems like it's working smart rather than working hard. What do you think?
It's smart, 100% smart. You've got to put some hard in because hard and smart goes together.
100%.
You can't say, I'm just going to do 2 hours a day and that's me working smart and I'm done. You know what I mean? Because hard does come into it. When you're self-employed, you're fully engaged 24/7. I've never known a period where I could say I wasn't engaged. Even now, social media is my work as far as I'm concerned. And I'm fully engaged all the time, which actually makes me wonder what it feels like not to be, because now everything is about, I guess, content, but recording. That's what it is. It's not a case of content. Is that social media is that moment when you see something and you go, oh, you know, when you see it, you might go out somewhere and you might go, oh, that's a cute thing my kid's doing, or that's a nice picture, I'll take that. That's that oh moment. So that's when you're going about doing things and it's like, oh God, look at that, click, video that, oh my God, I'm going to share that. That's your whole day, every day until bedtime. And sometimes you just don't have any of those moments. And then you've got to think, now what am I going to talk about? I know, go blank. How bizarre.
Wow. So how did this all begin then? I mean, before I go into that, would you say you're financially free now, or you've got some sort of, you're successful?
No, I'd say I was financially free for sure. I got to financial freedom. I thought when I was 40 that I was old, and that was when I was going to, you know, when you're young, you're in your 20s. I want to retire when I'm 40 and I want to, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, and I'd say that I was there by 40, alhamdulillah, I was there. But then you don't. You want to do, there's so much more to do. And now I'm hitting 50 and I'm thinking, now there's different levels. Now there's the realm that I'm entering is very interesting, very much higher level to where I ever was. And I'm talking about actual fund managers and actual funds, and then deepening into how they go about putting those funds together for people to then invest in, and talking about a different area of making money compared to the property scene. Property seems actually very easy. It wasn't difficult. Difficult, I would say, yeah. Now there's way too much to think about, which is the stress element of it. Prior, you had stress. I remember in 2008, every single one of my properties became, I wouldn't say entirely, but close to negative equity because, you know, the market crashed. Right. So back then, let's say my rent, I recall, was 650 and my
Yeah.
mortgage was 650. And I was thinking, and the value was even to the mortgage. So I was thinking to myself, oh God, what now? And then I had to tell myself, just hold on to the reins. That's all. It's just going to be a tougher ride and
Yeah.
keep going. And that's all you do. Whereas so many people, when it crashes or things go mad, and I've seen this as well when I was in the bank, they rush to the bank to get their money out, which is the stupidest thing ever. You know, I think it was around 9/11 time. There was a big crash, and people with stocks and shares ISAs, they came in and started cashing them in. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is the worst time to be cashing in. You should be buying. No, I've lost so much money. I don't want to lose all of it. It's like people don't understand those factors that have impacted. And because of that, they cut their losses and they take their money out, which is mad. Because I was working in Barclays at the time and people
Yeah.
were rushing in to cash in.
Wow.
Stupidity.
So, you just come back from a trip from Djibouti. How did that?
I was like being a movie. I was in a movie.
Yeah. How
I
was that?
swear.
How did that come about?
So, because I never saw myself as much of a fundraiser because I did attempt it with another charity. So they were giving me guidance and, you know, what I need to say in my content. And it was basically crybaby stuff, you know, that emotional drama. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't be upset about something. It's just not me. I am upset about it, but I'm a doer. I'm an action person. I'm not a please donate and it's really sad. And can you relate to this being your child and all of that? I just can't do that. And maybe because I wasn't attached enough to it to be able to give it that way. So anyway, this charity contacts me and I said to him, listen, dude, I am absolutely rubbish at fundraising. You don't want me. And so he said, well, we'll give you a low target. Just get to, and the biggest thing that hit me with that, because obviously a lot of charities, they do contact you. He said they're the forgotten refugees. And I thought, tell me more. So he told me about them and I said, okay, I'll join. I'll go, let's do this. But it's like a movie. You know, the stuff that you see in TV, they almost put it there for you to, they do, don't they? Anyway, they put all this stuff on the telly to desensitize you to it because it isn't like a reality, really, until you get there and you see it yourself. And then you go, wow.
I thought COVID was a movie. Well, not when it happened, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can't you? Because it's one of those situations, isn't it, that you just cannot relate to or your mind cannot accept is occurring. And the same with Djibouti. But, you know, this has really taught me a lot because when I was going, I thought, where the hell is Djibouti? Never heard of it. Never, ever heard of it. Let me do some research. And then I found that it was on the Horn of Africa, that it was actually a trade gate for
Wow. No
ships.
way.
Yeah, mate. Look at on the map, right? You've got, say, Africa, like
Yeah.
that. And there's the Horn. And the
Mhm.
ships come in round here. This is the Horn. This is Djibouti. It comes up through the trade gate into the Red Sea. And right at the top of the Red Sea is Suez Canal, Egypt,
Yeah.
Palestine.
That
So,
is not.
yeah. And you know how they're talking about digging out ground through Palestine to make another trade route? They were wanting to. There's a pathway that they're digging out. I mean, we could get too deep into the political
Well,
side here.
it's all part of their agenda. by the
Trade.
sound of it.
Trade
Trade.
routes. Trade routes are valuable because if they've, go back 100 odd years where they went to all the countries and nicked their coffee and their cotton and their gold and their tea and their sugar, right?
Yeah.
And that all comes through the trade routes. Well, they had a treaty with the Suez Canal for a long time. It's about a 100-year treaty or something there. And also with Turkey, they had a treaty. Those treaties have expired, which means that their goods have to come through and they have to pay for accessing those trade routes. But I imagine it's eating into a lot of their profit and they don't want that. But the crazy thing is, coming back to Djibouti, is that they've got something so valuable. Like that trade gate is so valuable, yet the country is so poor.
It's just they have no idea and no sort of like a system in place for them to make the most of that. Do you think?
Because it doesn't belong to them. The French took it when they
Oh.
colonized. So I asked a girl once, I was in a hotel and I said to her, so tell me, you guys all speak French. So, you were colonized and the majority of the language here, like some of you speak Arabic, but you speak French. And she said, yeah, she goes, because the colonizers. And so how, I said, do you think that helped the country then? Or, being colonized? Because they like to think that they made the savages civilized. how do you feel how did it impact you? Has it been good for the country? She goes, well, they haven't really left, Saira. It doesn't feel like they've left because it is there. I mean, I was in a nice hotel and there's a whole load of foreigners and I'm looking at the country thinking, why the hell are you all here? Chinese, Russian, Polish, Turks, everyone was there. Why are they there?
All for business.
It's all business, yeah. The Chinese have opened on the coast because they've got a beautiful coast. I don't know if you saw one of the videos we got taken to
I did when
because
we were on the boat.
the island,
Beautiful.
untouched island. I swear I felt like I was in paradise. I thought, wow, you know, and there was nobody there because the contacts that this guy that we went with, the CEO, they took us out on this boat and we had, you know, there was us with the niqabis from the orphanage. We went out, we had a food out on the beach, but we had our own private little section. Wear what you want, do what you want. Honestly, it was awesome. That's why I changed color completely because it was private and the water, subhanallah, Allah's creation on this earth, the crystal clear, warm, beautiful scene and everything was there. And you think, you know, I mean, I've heard recently that I think it's the British, yeah, it's the British, isn't it? They own most of the Jamaican beaches still. So they
Yeah.
take they take the best bits and they throw the scraps back at the people. And I look at these people and their mannerism and their behaviors, and they're so sweet and so polite and so nice and so simple, so simple. And you think, this is what they were. This is what they're like. And that's why they were so easy to manipulate. Everywhere, every country you look at, you think Malaysia was colonized.
Was it colonized by Malaysia?
British, French, Portuguese, and Dutch. Yeah. So and then in Malaysia they had the same way, you know, they called the Africans over or the Indians over to labor. They did the same in Malaysia with the Chinese. They called the Chinese over to do their laboring. I don't know what it was they took from there though. They must have taken something. And this is why they're so anti palm oil because they can't have it. But palm oil is really good for you.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception with
Intentional to drive it down as a commodity. It would have been great because over there everything is about the palm oil. It's all about the palm sugar, the palm sugar.
Yeah.
Yes, because they don't want you to have the sugar, do they?
So
Any
can
other
you
sauce.
get it when you were there? Could you have get some?
Everywhere. You know what I didn't understand was in their supermarkets, 3/4 of the shelving was palm oil based on the oil section. So I'm like, we were led to believe that, but no, that's no good. That's no good. We can't have that. And then the palm sugar, raw palm sugar, so good for you. All of it tastes so delicious. They didn't want you to have it. But they gave a patch of land to the Portuguese in where I bought my house, Malacca. So that's theirs, and it's very. But the good thing about the Malays is they're very secular. They're very inviting. It's live and let live type attitude. So it doesn't matter what you are, Sikh, Hindu, Buddhist, atheist. You could be whatever you want to be. It doesn't. They don't question any of it.
Cool. That's quite cool because
Yeah.
one of my questions is going to be like, how does someone get from the UK to Malaysia? I know you've got lovely YouTube videos on that, but if you've got like any main key points about how would someone want to move from here to there, would you say? Like, what's the main thing?
As
Obviously,
in-
money is going to be like, how would someone, like, let's say for me, for example, if I wanted to sort of drop everything and start a life in Malaysia, how would that take place?
So you know, you say that there was a young man that I met in a very nice hotel in. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? I went to a hotel for an event. There was a guy. He was Swedish or something, slim, tall, blonde. So I started having the conversation as he did the tour, and he said that he started off in Thailand backpacking, and then came to Malaysia, got a job in the hotel. He had nothing. He had his backpack. Now he was the hotel manager. He goes, but I did everything. He goes, I was the porter. He goes, then I got promoted to reception. Then from reception, I was doing whatever, and hospitality and rah. Now he's a hotel manager. He's married. He's got his kids there, and he's enjoying his life. So it's not like it's not doable. Anybody can, if they want to, especially with us, the way that we believe is if you do it with the right intention for the right reasons, then Allah opens doors. I can tell you that's a fact, that Allah will open doors. Doorways just open. And the Malays, yeah, I mean, everybody is good and bad everywhere, but they're generally very hospitable, very helpful, very hospitable. And people said, oh, it's because you're British. So I was like, no, it's not, because I've spoken to many other people who aren't British. There was an Indian man, very Indian,
Very Indian.
very Indian. It's a very Indian man. accent and everything, bless him. Right, he was married to a Filipino and she couldn't speak any English. And he was telling me about his experience where they didn't have like the touch and go card, which you needed to get through the tolls. And he goes, and I went to the shop to get one. And the guy said, here, look, use mine if it's only a couple of days and then bring it back. And it's like, he's just giving you your touch and go card, which is like it's a credit card. It's like you add money to it.
Right. Okay.
But it's still identified to you. That's a bit of a, like, we would never do anything like that because, you know, you could be a serial killer for all I know, use my card and incriminate me somehow. But yeah, they're just genuine, lovely people, which you see, you know, even when you go Umrah, you see all of them, the peace, the genuinity, the kindness. Yeah, you've got the little bits, haven't you? The ones that are needy or taking advantage of situations. But it's such a beautiful place to be surrounded by Muslims. I'm not like, you know, biased in any way, but it's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, to be honest, whenever we go on a holiday, the first thing my wife said, we go to a halal country, so it's just easier to pick food.
Well, no, it's not that though, is it? You think it's because of the food. It's not though, because you could go without that. You could go with fish. Like, it's not like you're going to eat meat every day. I mean, I do. All right, but
I could, but when I got 3 little girls who are quite picky,
yeah. But we
that's
have the same problem here, though. You're in England, where everything is not halal. So going to a Muslim country, you think that you want the ease of that, which is true. It's a component that's important. But actually, collectively, being in a Muslim country just makes you feel comfortable because you're surrounded by that ease of food, but the ease of prayer and the ease of people knowing, you know, you're the same, irrelevant of you're still the same.
yeah.
So that combines. I've learned that because I used to think I want to go to a Muslim country because I want halal food. But I live in a non-Muslim country where there is not halal food everywhere.
Good
So
point.
what difference is it going to make if I went to Spain?
Yeah.
The difference will be, yes, I can find an alternative food. However, it's everything else. You know, that
The whole package.
the whole package comes with. That's why we choose the Muslim countries to travel to.
Good. So I saw on your post that you first moved to Turkey. Did you get a place in Turkey first?
I owned a place in Turkey in 2000 and an
Okay.
apartment. And then I sold it just before the Ukraine war, which was not a good time to sell. Yeah. But I always believe, I was like, I haven't made any money because usually I make money. And I thought, okay, well, Khair, you know, it happened with ease. Maybe there's some reason for it.
Why did you pick Turkey then?
Great
Oh, right, okay.
destination. Yeah,
Right.
because it was the way I saw it was at that point, I think I had 4 children, and it was going to cost me about £7,000 for us to go and stay in a nice hotel for 2 weeks. And then there was whilst I was out there, and I had the estate agency actually, and naturally you're drawn to the estate agents and chatting. And they said, we've got this development we're selling. I said, okay, I can try and sell that for you in the UK, which I did. And I bought one in the block myself for about 25 maybe, or £30,000 back then.
Wow.
2-bedroom apartment. Yeah. But I didn't sell it for that much of a profit. However, the intention was I was going to sell it and buy me that villa by the sea, you know, the one that we dream to have. Everybody has the dream.
Yeah.
I want to retire to a beachfront villa. So he went off looking, and then the Ukraine war happened, and he was going, it's going to cost this much. So I was priced out straight away. I said, I'm not doing that. I haven't got that much money. And this is what I want. So that was what started the ball rolling of me looking further afield. Yeah. And
Okay.
ended up in Malaysia.
And I saw the house in Malaysia. It's really nice. I think you rented one first or something. Is that what happened? And then you got one
Yeah.
in Sydney?
I got a property to rent whilst I was there first, and that cost me about 480 quid, which was just ridiculous. Very nice. You know what else I found that I've done now and reflect? What I found I'd done is, see, where I'm living here right now, I live in a new build estate. It's a garden city. It's got parks. It's got a school. It's got a local shop and doctor. Everything's in this community. You know these 15-minute communities they're talking about, right?
Yes.
I think that's what I'm living in here. You just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Because I do walk everywhere. And I could, if I wanted to, walk to Blue Water Shopping Centre. That's about, I'd say, half hour's walk from where I am. And that's a major main shopping mall. And there's little buses, electric buses in the area if you really want to go like a bit further, but you don't. There's no need for it. There's absolutely no need for me to leave my home and go anywhere, go out for a walk. There's no swimming. If there's a pool or something, actually there's a hotel nearby, I could go there. Anyway, but what I did was, when I chose the house to rent, I chose something very similar, not realizing it. When I bought the house I chose something very similar to what I was in, not realizing it until stepping out and going, gated community, pool, gym, shops, everything. And in fact, the community was great because we have a WhatsApp group over there. And the guy that did the Gurbani would deliver the halal meat to you, big
Wow.
slab of meat. And I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Okay, let's work this out. There was the community, huge community spirit going on over there. And the only reason anyone would leave is if they really wanted to go to the mall. Otherwise, you don't have to leave because you get a grab, which is like get on your app, choose what you want to buy, and it gets delivered to your door in 20 minutes. You do not have to leave.
But you don't have to, and you don't have a need to go out then?
Don't have a need to go out. Never went out anywhere. If I wanted, I didn't even do a weekly shop. And I'm glad I didn't, because weekly shops are a waste of money. You
Yeah.
go and do this fat shop, and you come and stuff your cupboards and your fridges. And then the next week you're like, oh, it's time to do a weekly shop again. But actually you've probably only used 40%, 50% maybe of what you purchased. And then you go end up buying more. We have it all wrong. So what we used to do was, in the morning, breakfast was quite set. There might be some fruits or whatever
Yeah.
in the fridge for breakfast, eggs, bread, whatever. And then snack, and then dinner. So what are we having for dinner? Okay, get on the grab, order what you want, it be delivered, and your dinner's done for the day. And I think that's if you think an Islamic Muslim behavior, I mean, I'm not that knowledgeable, but what I do have is sense. And to me, that was sensible to only buy what I need for today. Forget about tomorrow, because I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. And so, yeah, that concept. However, do I want to live in that house now? Not really.
Where do you want to settle?
I don't want to settle anywhere.
That's the thing, because I think the way the world has worked for you now, the universe, Allah, everything, it's like you get opportunities everywhere.
The way I see it is, once I've sold my house, the reason why I came back was I had a property to sell, and it took until September to get that over the line. So that's done, that's banked. Then I started to sell this house that I'm living in, because I don't actually need this house. This house is way too big for me. At the best, there's me and my daughter in this house. I've got 3 sons. One lives in his own house. The other one is with his nanny. I said, you're 21, go sort your out and go and get on your feet, make a life. So he's
Yeah.
doing that, mashallah, and pray Allah makes him successful. And then the youngest one, he's not academic. I've said this many times before. However,
That's okay though, isn't it? That's not a bad thing. I mean,
not today's terms, it's not, because AI's got you.
well, I mean, with AI, even if you're a doctor, your job's gone pretty much in the
Yeah.
next few years. Doctors won't be.
Everyone's job has gone. Yeah, so that in a way, it's quite good, because I always said it. I've said in some of my content, don't go to university. It's not like I don't believe in uni. I don't believe in education. I do. Knowledge is very valuable. It's crucial to your existence, because that's what
Yeah.
that's what gives your brain the ability to think beyond a certain span. However, right now, Chat GPT and AI is brilliant, and you need to be practical, especially if you're a man. It needs to be something that you can do. And going back, almost like it says, in the Quran, to horseback. That's where you're going to go. So he's learning MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because that's what my brother does. And my nephew's 21. He runs his own gym, and he teaches kids. And he said it's the best job he's ever. And he does competitions with them, and he loves it.
Yeah,
And
isn't
so
it?
this is where. And the good thing with that is trade, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Trade you can take anywhere. People confuse trades with like being an electrician or a builder or things like that. It doesn't have to be.
There's so many trades out there. I mean, when I finished uni, I was like, shit, I can read whatever, any book I want now. I can study whatever I want, because it's a typical, my upbringing is typical, go to uni, just get that piece of paper. Did business management because I didn't know
Oh,
what else
God.
to do. I know. Unfortunately, that's what I did, because I was just told I just had to go uni. You need to get that piece of paper. I did that. Did absolutely nothing with it. But ironically, I'm starting a business now, not using that degree, but I've actually learned more by going out there and just doing it.
I'll tell you the difference, right? Is I used to employ people in my property management business, and you could either employ somebody who was, say, up to GCSE level with experience, or you would employ somebody with a degree. And the approach of both of those, call them candidates, was very different. The graduate had a different approach on how they would handle a situation compared to the person who had the experience. And the successful one would definitely be the one that did the degree, because their approach was systematic, pragmatic. They broke it down and they took it in steps, so that the chances of there being any errors along the way, it was very thought through, and you're building up to something. Whereas somebody with experience would just, they'll go in straight, go for the kill, get the job done. But the approach was very different for both. And I think there was a value to both sides. So And if you can, like I never went to uni. Everybody said to me, no, I did. I studied myself. And they said, what do you mean you studied yourself? I actually worked in the estate agents as a mortgage advisor back then first. And I had to study the FPC exams. They were this thick, the manuals. I was a single mother at the time, and the manuals, and 3 of them. And I sat at home and I used to study myself with no YouTube, nothing. And alhamdulillah, I passed.
It's meant to
You
be.
can self-study. And after that, property management exams, I did all of those. I think it were 4 papers whilst working in property management. And then I took the exams and I passed them. So I think the practical element now they're talking about, apprenticeships, it makes all the difference. Yeah. Because one of the exams for FPC was called AOCA, Application of Knowledge Assessment. And I kept failing it because I hadn't applied myself I'd applied myself in finance, but I hadn't applied myself in investment because it's full on. That paper was all about somebody comes to you with 150 grand. Now what are you going to do with it? So you have to show. And it was only when I started working in a bank, all the coins dropped and I took the exam and I passed it. So practical makes a difference. Apprenticeships, I value them. I think they're good if you can do them. You'll pass your exams quicker.
Cool. So if someone were to get into properties, buying properties and have a big portfolio, do you think it's important to do those exams that you're mentioning? Like do the courses or?
No, you don't need financial planning exams for property investment, and you definitely don't need property management for property investment. No, because property investment is about the actual finding a good investment, which is profit and loss. Look at it as a business and say, am I going to make money out of this? And knowing, I guess there has to be an element of knowledge, as in when you source a property, where you're going to buy it, what kind of house it is. You don't want to end up with something concrete with steel reinforcements because you're going to end up putting that one back in the auction and losing a ton of money.
Got quite a few of those houses. When we first looked for...
You've got to know.
Sorry?
You've got to know what you're buying.
Yeah, 100%. When they said, oh, we've got this property on the market, it was only like... And this was like 2000, this was 5 years ago. So
yeah,
the cost was so cheap. It was like, I think it was like 100K, I think it was. And it was just, and I was like, oh, well, that's a good price. Let's have a look. And it's just literally made out of steel beams. Why does it look like that? And they're like, this is why. It's like, it's hard to get a mortgage on it. Hard to get a mortgage on it because not many people, because you can't rely how long this building will last. I was like, wow.
Yeah, because it corrodes the steel. The steel corrodes, or is it iron or something? Anyway, either way, it corrodes. And if it's covered in then concrete, lenders. So I suppose me knowing what I know really did help me choose what I chose. Being in estate agency, when I was with Wards, they put me through what they call the marketing consultant, but you had to study up on property. You had the era, you had the build, you had different styles. You had to study everything to do with every kind of build that existed in the UK. So that really did help a lot because you understand now looking at a house. Like I'd look at a house and they'll go, yeah, that's Cornish style. And somebody will look at it and go, well, that's good. I'll buy that. And I'll go, just make sure that the bottom has got 2 skins because they were built single skin and the top is timber. So, you're going to, and my memory, alhamdulillah, my memory's so good. And I don't know, it's because there's some things I don't remember at all. Like we were out in the Saudi and they were going, what did we have for dinner last night? I was like, where were we last night? Where were we? What did you think of dinner last night? It was when we went to that Prop Medina event. They did a whole, when they do the whole animal and they slap it on a big tray of, and there was there was the head. Okay. The head was there, the teeth were there and everything. And they were like, oh my God, what did you think of that? And I was like, well, I dissected an eyeball, tasted it. Interesting. Yeah.
Chewy?
Oh, it was quite soft actually.
Okay.
It wasn't overly soft. I had the white, but I didn't have the actual retina itself.
Yolk.
The yolky bit, yeah. I didn't have that because it was black and I thought I just can't taste that. I tasted the outside, it was fine. Would I eat the whole thing? Probably not. Unless it was significantly good for me. If it was going to reverse me by about another 10 years. If somebody said to me, eat an eyeball and you'll drop 10 years off your life, and I was like, sounds good to me, I'll do that.
Yeah, same. I'm like that. It took me probably a year just to get around eating liver because...
I love liver.
I didn't mind chicken liver, but it's beef liver. It's quite...
No, beef. My mum, you know what she used to do after I had kids? She used to put some butter in a pan, chop it up into cubes, splash it round until it changed colour just on the outside and go, there, eat that.
And you were fine eating it?
I was a good girl. I used to do what my mum told me to do always.
So good, so good. My
I'm
middle
such a
daughter,
good girl.
my middle daughter's like that. Like, give her
Anything mum
anything,
says.
she'll just eat it. She'll just eat. Well, my eldest, I don't like the taste of it. All the rest of it, all the reasons on the sun, and then
I think it's just instilled in me. My mum says it's good for you. Like right now, I'm poorly, and I said to my mum, you know, she knows because she's like, "How you doing?" And I said,
yeah.
"I'm still sick." She goes, "I'll get some chicken, put some cinnamon in it, put some clove, and I can't think what else she said. Make a soup." She goes, "Drink the soup." She goes, "That you'll be fine. You'll be fine." I thought she's so blooming right. She's mashallah
She's right.
76.
Wow, amazing.
And any of these health tips that I share generally come from my mum.
That's so good. That's so good. And the thing is, like with the health tips, generally, it's the stuff passed on from generations to generations are proven to be correct. Well, most of them anyway.
When I got food poisoning in Djibouti, I swear I thought I'm going to get gastroenteritis. I'm going to end up in hospital. I was up all night.
Did you eat?
My bad. I know what it was. The girls said, because one of the girls, she's Somali anyway, she goes, "My mum said to me, don't eat the meat," right? And so we went that beach day, and out comes the mundi with a nice big shoulder. And
Wow.
I'm breaking it, and I'm like, "Oh, that looks good."
Going to
Right. So
town.
I was like, forget the rice, give me the salad, give me the meat. So I'm munching away at the meat. And that evening, I started to feel sick. And then I put two and two together. How dumb was I? I was so relaxed. They had to bring, because I asked them, I said, "Oh, who cooked it?" And they said, "Oh, we got it from a restaurant on the mainland." And I'm thinking, that's a 45-minute boat ride. No wonder the food's still warm. It was warm when we got it because I didn't clock. How can it be warm? If they cooked it at home, cooled it down, put it into some container to transport it,
Yeah.
then we would have probably eaten it cold, right? Because of the hot temperatures outside, reheating and that. And you can't, a big handy like this, you can't reheat it. And
So how
they
did they?
transported it. They transported it on the boat for 40 minutes and then
Wow.
they put it in front of us. So it got cooked in the restaurant, then put on a boat for 40 minutes in hot temperatures, then put on a table covered over with foil and cling film for the transportation. And yeah, so the bacterias were going wild. Do you know what helped? Again, this was my mother. So I had probiotics with me. I took them out the capsules. I was taking that. I think I tried Shilajit that night as well. But you know what helped me? You know, aspargol, psyllium husk.
Oh yeah, bloody! I've been trying to look for that for ages.
So before I left, my mum goes to me, "Oh," I said to my mum, "Oh, she's been on about it." She goes, "It's really good for cholesterol." And she's going, "Yeah, take the packet that I've got." So when I was sitting in that hotel room, I was thinking, hang on, I was Googling, and it's like toxins in your stomach.
Absorbed.
Aspargol absorbs the toxins. 2 glasses of that, and I relaxed. But my stomach was doing this, cramps. You know, have you ever had gastroenteritis before?
No.
Your stomach goes into spasm. It's horrendous. And it was heading that way, like literally contractions every 2 minutes. And I thought, I'm going to have to ring them up and say, "You're going to have to take me into hospital because I need something to stop the spasms."
Yeah, yeah.
But the Ispaghol did it because it soaked up the toxins. And within half hour, I was good, ready. And I actually went to sleep. So
Amazing.
natural remedies. Thank God for my mum again. That's all I can say.
Thank
She
God
gave
for
it
your
to me
mum.
before I went.
Perfect, perfect. I want to touch on digital ID because there's a big shift happening. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you know this was kind of coming? Because some of your videos are quite like, oh, there's something happening. I don't know whether that's linked to
Yeah,
digital.
it's quite common knowledge that there's a lot happening. There's a lot because that was me when I was talking about Agenda 2030, which I'm a bit late.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a bit late to the party with that because I am, but I just didn't realize how cocooned and in bubbled in their own lives everybody is. And the reason why they are so lost in their own life is because you're kept busy, aren't you? You're kept
Distractions.
busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
distractions, and they call it the UN Sustainability 2030 plan or something like that.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
word sustainable, isn't it? But when I looked through it, I was like, the only way you can get all this done is by controlling something or someone, and that someone is all of us.
Well, so I read that. I read that before I went to Malaysia because you know then you say October the 7th occurred. And then you go down your rabbit hole. So I don't want to be here. I don't want to pay tax. I don't want to pay interest to the banks that are going to fund these atrocities. So that was my first initial start to dig, and then that led me to Agenda 2030 because somebody sent me a message about it, and that's one of the good things about being on social media. There's a lot of people that want to say things they can't say, maybe because they're working within. and they want to share that information with others, but can't do it themselves. So I become a bit of a channel for these people, and they send me info. In fact, there was yeah, I'll come back to that one about vaccines. So yeah, 2030, I looked at it and I thought, how on earth, the first one, they want to end world poverty by 2030. And even now I'm looking at it and I'm going, what I've seen as poverty levels, how the hell are they going to end world poverty by 2030? So that's where, I don't know, my logic tells me digital currency comes into it, because everybody's going to
Because my first thought, and it's a bit tough to say, with wars happening, they're killing people off, then
depopulation.
depopulation, basically. I mean,
Yeah, of course. Depopulation has always been happening. It was, I think I did a podcast recently and I was talking to Khadija, and I told her when I had my property business, my daughter was 18. So that's 18, 20, so 12 years ago. And she worked for the lawyers next door, and she did something on a post about Palestine. They had to report. And the next thing is I've got Prevent in my office talking to me about my daughter. And so, I mean, I'm blasé with everything. I'm like, seriously, you guys here? I mean, look at me. Yeah, I'm as white as it comes. You know, if you check my lifestyle, I am pretty Western, British.
coconut.
And I said, and they said, well, what do you think we found with your daughter when we've been through her phone? This was without being on her phone, right? We've been through everything. And I was like, can you do that? And they was like, yeah, we can. And I said, and they said, well, what do you think we found? And I said, do you want me to be really honest? Shoes, bags, clothes, makeup, maybe some boys, right? And they went, yeah, pretty much that. So I said, why are we even here? You know, I get you. I respect the fact that you're trying to protect my daughter from being groomed, because I know that would probably happen to the sweets and Muslim girls of this country, get groomed by people. But we've seen one, and she's been, you know, outcasted, exemplary outcast, Shamima Begum, at 15. And Hannah was 18 at the time. So she was an adult, whereas Shamima wasn't even an adult. And he told me, so then we started talking, and I was like, long story short, he said, wars are simply to depopulate, Sarah, off record. He goes, that's
He
all
said
it's
that
about.
to you?
He said it to me. I don't even know, I can't remember who his name is. There were the two men in suits that came in. We started to level up, you know, conversation wise, we were starting to level up. He's read the Quran. He said, you know, all of everything that he could relate to. He understands Islam. He has to.
So sorry, just for the listeners as well. These guys were just what, part of the police or part of the government?
Prevent. Do you know Prevent?
No. So what is Prevent? No, that's what I was
Prevent
thinking.
is a government body that's been put together to prevent, it's like anti-terrorism, anti-whatever, anything to do with Islam. I've had engagements with the team a few times now. Once for because my children went to madrasa, didn't they? And Islamic school. So one of my sons has got a file like that. He's a pretty straight up, easy kid doing his thing, you know, like there's nothing unusual about him, but they've got a file on him. Hannah probably has a file on her.
So your kids must get stopped a lot at the airport then if they go to America. Because when I went
America,
to all the other places as well, when I went to America and it was just me and my brother and sister, just because my brother went to Saudi, we had this little Bill Gates looking guy out of nowhere just popped up and just said, oh, can we just ask you some questions? We can see that you went to Saudi Arabia. Was it for Umrah? Was it for Hajj? And I was like,
where, why, how, what the hell? You know, you're living a quiet life, normal, what you classify as. And all of a sudden you've got like high level authorities breathing down your neck. Yeah, we went, when I went to Malaysia with my boys, my son, he's 21 now, we got as far as the gate flying Saudi Airlines, and they pulled him aside and they said to me, you can get on the flight. We need to talk to him. And I said, no, I don't think so. I'll stay here. They started asking him questions. I said, look, he hasn't got a clue about anything. I'm his mother. I organised the whole thing. He doesn't know where we're going, what the flight duration is. He hasn't got a clue about anything. He doesn't know where we're staying. So if you want to ask any of those questions, you can ask me. Plus, son, he's ASD, but he's very early, so it's social skills. You know, like Asian families have got this thing about, oh, we don't want our kids to be branded because they think it's an illness. No, it just means that they think differently, cognitive function. In fact, a majority of them are quite intelligent. However, trust me, it's worthwhile having that card to play when you need it in situations like that, because I could ask for play. And
what is ASD exactly? Just for those who don't know.
Autism,
okay.
autistic spectrum disorder. So
has he always had that, or is it?
It's by birth. It's like there's a spectrum like this. So you might be on the beginning part, which is kind of around about here, which is where he was, which is his social skills, and they grow out of it in time. However, it's worth having it there. Not that it changed anything in his schooling, because I took control of their schooling and put them into the Darul Islamic school. And so anyhow, they stopped him. So they took his telephone and we never got it back. And eventually they let him go. So we were half expecting on return. We came back, that was August, and we came back in December. He's going to get stopped, which he did. And he got taken to a room. And you think, he's a simple boy. He was 20, 19 at the time, I think they stopped him, 20. He had his 20th birthday in Malaysia. And then when we came back, he was only 20. But he's not a mature 20. He's a very simple. They're all very simple, normal boys, you know. He goes off, does it. They play footy on a Monday, do you know what I mean, with their mates.
That's
That
it.
kind of.
I always say that, everyone matures differently regardless of their age. I really despise when people say, oh, once they're 18, they can deal with it. It's not like that at all.
Our kids are different. You know, when they're grown up we grew them differently. I can understand if he grew up on the streets of London somewhere, but he didn't. He grew up in a very quiet town in Kent, you know, with his little buddies, mixture of all different ethnicities. And they all play football in the park together, you know. And they ride their bikes still, you know. It's that kind of child. If he was, you know, I don't know, brought up East London style, got the vibe and chat with the boys and the gangs and, you know, all of that, understandable, but he wasn't. So anyway, for him, it was quite daunting. So he was like, well, what do I do? What do I say? I said, nothing. I said, you just say what comes first to your head, and that's what you talk about. You don't need to cover anything because you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
You just say. Just the only thing you must always be cautious about is the political element of, you know, with the way that you can't say certain things about Palestine. Yeah. And you know, the thing is, in Malaysia, you were free to say and be supportive of them. Whereas, which was liberating, so liberating. You know, we stuck stickers on our cars, and they had little monthly gatherings where people would do lots of little marches in the estate together for Palestine. It was so nice. It was so nice. And it's not a question of religion at all. I've told my kids know that.
It's humanity.
It's humanity. Yeah, it's kindness, and what's right and what's wrong. And what is wrong is evident. We don't have to spell it out.
So going back to digital IDs. So
Digital ID.
So most likely it's definitely going to happen.
No, it's done. It's in. We just don't realise it. When we, obviously, because I travel a fair amount now, and I go through the borders a lot, and I've seen the changes. And most recently, UK. Before, you know, you would go and you'd queue up, and the border force would be there, and you'd beat the guy, tell him where you've been, all of that. No, it's all kind of died down. We just went through the gates, digital gate, and you know, it scans your face, but God knows what else it's scanning while you're there, to be fair. And that's it. Everything's it's already in place. You might think that it's not, but it is. Every time you pick up your phone and you do your screen, you've done your biometrics. Every time you sell a property, you know, you're with the lawyers, they ask you to do documents. We want you to do digital verification. They ask you to enter your passport and your driving license, and then they tell you to scan your face. You've done it. It's not even. It's here. You're using it. All that hasn't happened is the connections. And it may well have already happened, but maybe there's going to be another pre-COVID thing that's going to happen for it to finally push that button and make it connect.
I mean, people get stabbed left, right, and centre in the UK all of a sudden.
I've noticed that,
all of a sudden. There was a report about they did a practice run in the same place where that people got stabbed in the train. They did a practice run, I think, a month back or a couple of months back in the same place. So I thought that was interesting. They did the same thing with 9/11. When I say they, you guys can make your own mind up whose they is. So are people just fighting the inevitable? Is it a losing battle when they're trying? Like, so I'll give you an example. I had a client who owns his own business, and he said, because he's a limited company, you had to, by the 8th of November, you had to do the single sign-on. But he said if you read at the small print, if you pay like 50 quid or something, you can do it manually by doing it by post. So I hear people doing that. But speaking to you and from other sources, are people just fighting the inevitable?
You're not going to be able to function anywhere without you're in it. You can't not even be in it. It's such a ingrained system that every facet of your life requires you to be party to it. So there's no getting away from it. So in a way, you have to think of it from a positive element as well, because there's a lot of negativity around it. So let's think from a positive side that like I'm law abiding. I do as I'm told. I pay my bills. I pay my taxes. A bit of digital ID isn't going to bother me. It's fine. It's if it means getting through the channels faster, yay. You know, I don't have to stand around when I'm come off of holiday and I don't want to queue up for hours. What else is there? Do you want to go and have a look at my bank account? Go crack on. I mean, you've looked into my bank account a million times when I've taken a mortgage out because you asked for my bank statement. So, you know, you've seen all of that you want to see. I don't do anything that would raise concerns from them. So why should it bother me? What bothers me is what comes from it next. Because we're already living in semi-controlled. Call it a control, but it's a system, right? And a good system is a good control and it functions and people within it function nicely and everybody's happy. It's a bit like business systems, right? Everything
Yeah,
functions.
we talked about systems at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah, everything functions, everyone's happy, system works, harmony. What comes from that is the next problem because we have our level of living, but there's stuff that goes on above us that we're not familiar with. And we were talking about trade routes and inflation and food and productivity and the cost of and technology and money and the elites and the powers above that are producing what they're producing for us. We were quite heavily slave to the system. You could classify it as, but we were working in the system for the benefit of the system. But now technology and robotics will take away quite a lot of that human need. So the system is now a slave to the slave. So the system has to provide for us, and we're not giving anything back in return effectively, are we? We're not going to. If I'm no longer required, as in I've been replaced by AI or robotics, right? I'm not doing anything that's beneficial to that system. So now I'm surplus to requirement. I'm not needed in that system. So see you later. But where are you going to send me? Because I'm a human being. There's nowhere. I mean, I'd have to slot myself into something else to still be part of the system, but then there's too many of us because the need of our intervention compared to what technology can do is now at that crossroads, isn't it? Therefore, depopulation, because the population rises gradually each year. So slowing down the amount of people that are born and the ones that live longer, making them live less longer is the way to now level it out. So they need to level it out and they need to bring it down, and they can't just do it by giving us all one mass injection to kill us off, because that would destabilize
Exactly.
situations. Therefore, consumerism, so these companies that we buy from, and this is why I say boycott is a boycott. Do it, because these large corporations that are party to what's happening in front of our eyes, that are supporting it, is not actually, you're not helping them by boycotting. You're helping yourself. So those corporations, let's say, hypothetically, put things in your food, put things in your moisturizers, because your skin absorbs the most, right? So hormones that might make you not be productive. Yeah.
Totally.
And anything, they make you believe that even your blooming water, that absorbs in, but your moisturizers, your toothpastes, your anything.
The fluoride, what else? The pesticides. Now they're putting mRNA part of that injection. A couple of years ago, they're putting mRNA in food now, so in spinach and in animals as well. Yeah. I put a post out on my story. But I'm doing a longevity masterclass in December, and that's something I'm going to talk about. So yeah, they've put all this technology into food, and you mentioned you want to talk about vaccines earlier, but slowly they're transitioning to all of them to be mRNA vaccines, which is the technology that they use for COVID.
Yeah.
And they're doing it without not even advertising. They're just doing it slowly. And one thing that worries me about the digital ID is mandatory vaccination.
Okay, let's focus on how you can clear yourself of cleanse. So Shilajit is definitely one of them, which I haven't spoken about yet because I've been sick and I haven't been able to do it. But when you think about Shilajit, right, it absorbs heavy metals in the rocks. So when it's given to us, it's cleansed of those heavy metals. So if you're then going to consume the cleansed substance, it will absorb any heavy metals in your body. And I believe that vaccines use those metals to carry, don't they?
They do, but the mRNA ones don't need heavy metals. My worry is the mRNA technology doesn't need heavy metals, and that's what how they're promoting it. They're saying that they don't need heavy metals because that technology, you just put it into that injection and it does what it needs to do. I'm sure there's going to be some aluminium.
So what about zinc?
Yeah, zinc.
Because Barbara O'Neill was talking about cleansing your body of the COVID vaccine, and she said zinc, take zinc every day. And funnily enough, where I've been sick, somebody sent me some supplements. So usually I'll go scavenging through my cupboards to see what I can take.
Yeah.
And one was for immune support and one was for recovery. And both of them had heavy quantities of zinc.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So that's what I've been taking. And considering, I mean, it could be that, but I need my immune system back anyway. The fact is, your vaccine is some of the
Material.
illness. Yeah, that goes in. So then your body responds to it. And so if you build your own immune system, that's got to be the key to fighting even that small amount that they put into your body to help you cleanse it and shoot it back out again. So if they give you the vaccines, great, is what they're going to do. You can't change it, is to build your bodies to be strong enough to expel anything that comes in and fight against it.
With Dr. Tom O'Brien, and he said the best offense, he said in his American accent, he said the best offense is defense. So
There you go.
with the immune system.
Yeah.
I don't know, you've probably heard of homeopathy before.
Yeah.
I have a homeopathy kit, so whenever it comes up, it's basically sort out with that, which I found quite helpful. So digital IDs, so we're just fighting the inevitable. So it is what it is. We just gotta get the positives from it.
Positives from it. But listen, what it is not that, it's what's coming from it. Remember that? I said to you, what's coming from it. That's the bit that you've got to worry about. So move now on to carbon footprint.
Yeah, I've seen in my NatWest
See it?
online. I saw you post about it and I was looking, wow, it actually is telling me my carbon footprint for everything I've purchased. What is that? And then obviously, because I've been aware of the agenda, but it's like, shit, if we are going to have a carbon footprint limit per day or per week, whatever it might be, that's another headache, isn't it? That's another...
Now, I can give you an example, because there's a woman, we don't know what, I mean, we've done something, maybe if you've got Google out there right now, find out what every individual's carbon footprint limit is and see what it says. But this woman, she did her calculation, NatWest, she let them do it. And they said to her, she was spending 800 kg on food, right? So she said, okay, so what does that need to be then? And they said, you're spending too much. And they said, 180.
100?
Goes, how?
For 800?
There you go. So the issue now is that they're going to have a food crisis. That's coming. It's already happening in America. There's queues, even military having to queue up for food in the US. Google it, you'll see it. So 2027, there's going to be a food crisis, and that's really part of the control measures. The biggest job that this system has is feeding us. The biggest unbalance in the whole world is food. I've just seen it. There's us right up here with too much food and the highest level of food wastage in this country. And then you've got them over there who just about get by on a bag of rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Why doesn't someone send the food from here to over there?
Oh, it's another task, isn't it? It's another task. Like, everything's a business, right? So they send food to us here. They're going to make money out of it. We're going to buy food. We're going to buy surplus food. We're going to end up throwing half of it away. They've made their money. That's it. Why should they then take that food and then spend money and ship it over to people that need it? That's where the charities come in. That's where we start donating our money. The balance is so screwed when you look at it. And it's because we're so flipping spoiled in this country. And I was saying to my daughter, you know, when I took my daughter with me, everybody's like, are you sure you're going to take a 10-year-old kid with you to this kind of environment? I was like, hell yeah, I want her to see. 100%. And so then at the end of it, I said to her, what do you think you should do now? What are you going to do differently?
What did she say?
She said, I'm going to stop wasting food. And that's not me putting it in her head. I'm not going to waste food. Because I tell them all the time, you tell your kids all the time, that's food waste. You know, you're wasting that. Only eat it. Only take it if you're going to eat it, because otherwise it's a waste. They do not understand the concept. Things like Like where I've come back from, it's not, my cupboards are bare. There's nothing in the cupboards, right? So I made the halva because I was sick. I had the butter, had the milk, had the suji, made some halva, good for me. And if you tell me to eat that 3 times a day, I'll eat it, no problem. But anything else for my 10-year-old was in the freezer. There was frozen parathe and bit of
Oh God.
frozen this,
Oh
frozen that. Yeah.
no.
And even my freezer doesn't have a lot in it anymore because I don't live to that limit of having what I used to have, which was freezers stuffed with, you know, the kebabs and the chickens and the God knows what else.
Love the
None of it.
accent. Yeah. The kebabs and
You might be able to relate to it. I know what my freezer used to look like. I now know what my so
if I look at my freezer now, unfortunately,
it's brimming.
it's
Brimming with probably double of everything, you know? So this time she didn't complain. She said, I'll go and get some eggs. So she popped to the little local because she can, right? Popped to the local, got some eggs. She made herself a burrata and she had that twice yesterday for breakfast and then some snacks in between of what she could find. And she had it again for dinner in the evening because I was down, right? I mean, there was other people I could call on. It's no problem. But I said, I'm not calling on anyone. This is us. This is our space. This is what we've got to work with, what we're going to do with it. And that's what our kids need, insights. Showing them on the TV, it doesn't hit
it
the
doesn't.
same. It doesn't. So coming back to food crisis, there will be a food crisis, maybe under disguise of a food crisis, maybe under disguise of the
So
carbon footprints,
are they going to
but
say
they're
there's not enough food to get around? Is that what they're going to say?
quite possibly. Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. Now people are going to go, right, food crisis. I'm going to stockpile my food, right, whilst we get through the crisis. There's no point because what is the kind of food that you can stockpile that'll last, that's got length, like tinned stuff,
Only tin.
dal,
Yeah.
chane, rice, sugar, all the stuff that we were giving to the refugees, that was the kind of stuff that you would probably stockpile. And that's probably kind of along the lines of the stuff that'll be available to us. Now let's say, how is it going to actually occur? That's the biggest question, is how will they have the majority, like farms, this is where it stems from, right? So farms, you know, see that lady, the 800 kgs
Yeah.
of the reason why she had such a huge carbon footprint is because she gets a lot of her food from farms. So farms, they're trying to push out because they're saying that you have a high carbon footprint because of the way that you're producing the food and then you're distributing the food. Whereas when it's all centralized in some GMO location and they mass produce the food and then it's frozen or whatever and then it's sent off, freeze dried, whatever, the carbon footprint for something like that is significantly lower than what you would get from a farm. If you think in America, they've shut down quite a lot of the farms, and I think it's Elon Musk, he's bought the
Gates.
farmland.
Bill Gates has the one. Is the
Bill
one.
Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Gates. They're buying up the farmland. And if you look around the world, even places like Africa, 70% of their food is imported. Yeah. Our country, I don't know, we probably import a hell of a lot more of our food. But countries that you would think that could produce their own don't. They import. Turkey, 70% of their food is imported. Why on earth would they be importing? It doesn't make any sense
No sense whatsoever. I'm sure
because
they've
they're
got
not
enough
producing.
land.
And Malaysia, they don't produce any of their own meat. It comes from New Zealand.
Is there going to be an issue? Do you predict people growing their own food at home, like vegetables and stuff?
So let's just assume that like, a lot of people are doing that. Actually, a lot of people are thinking, you know, so you know how people are going, oh, we're going to live in our own little sustainable communities. They're not going to let you do that
No,
because
I heard they're going to do taxing or checks on people who have chickens in their house as well, in their gardens. Did you hear about that?
well, I used to keep chickens.
So did I.
We used to have an allotment, and then out came the whole bird flu rules and regs, and so that just made it so much more difficult. And we said, you know what, forget it. We're just not going to keep them anymore because it just meant you had to do all sorts of like registering and all of it is. If you think about that and you think about where they are with it now, it all leads up to maybe there was no bird flu, you know. What was that? CJD, foot and mouth.
That bloody
Yeah, that was ages ago. But all of this kind of leads up to, you know what I remember saying back then when that occurred was like if you sent all those sick cows to Pakistan or somewhere and they made them halal, I reckon nobody would have got sick because we drain all the sick blood out of the animal. So
That's
yeah.
it. That's it. So digital ID is what it is. We just gotta watch out what's coming around the corner.
You
How
can't get away from it
no.
unless you leave.
But
The more
then I remember you posted something about that, and someone posted a comment with the same question that I had. Is like, well, you can get digital ID somewhere else. So what do you say to people who think that?
Well, it's obvious that we live in a far more developed country, and there's countries out there that are far less developed. Now, let's talk about Morocco, right? They're not as developed. They don't have the camera systems. They don't have the connections. They're connected, but they're a good, I don't know how many years, because I wouldn't be able to evaluate it, but they're very much behind, very behind. Now, Dubai, Saudi, with it, totally with it. Their tech is advanced. They've got the money. Like, it was so funny, right? You had, Saudi, because obviously you got people from every level. So you had the Pakistanis from the villages, the little old ladies, right? She's standing there with her bag on her head, wobbling like this, right? Going through her digital ID, the thing, scanner. And I thought it was so funny. Like, when you look at that and that, you've got two extreme levels of development in your face, the high-end tech versus the village lady. Yes, it's going to happen around the whole world, but you're if you go somewhere where they're not as developed, you still maintain that peace and freedom that you can get in life and that you want. And Morocco definitely has it. Yeah. And Turkey, I think, would be quite advanced. Egypt, potentially not too far behind, but Egypt has got, people have got their eyes on Egypt because it still forms part of the whole, map. Morocco for us seems quite viable because it's nearby. Weather's nice, beaches are nice, food's nice, people are nice, and the cost at the moment is reasonable. So for us as Brits,
Yeah.
I think Morocco's quite nice. I'm going to be going there. Some guy from, I think, Bradford, he's got a farmhouse and he's invited me to take it for a little while. And I was like, could take my kids there for a little break. And it's a farmhouse. It's got chickens and cows and
Nice.
grow your own. Everything's grown on the land. And places like that, I imagine, because, if you do things in this country, it's not difficult for the authorities being as ahead of the game and not as corrupt, let's say, not to they are, but they're just not there, if you know what I mean, to send out a few drones and find people who are growing their own and say, right, you're going to get a fine because you're growing your own, Whereas I can't see that happening. Morocco's huge. England is tiny. They won't take long. It's not difficult to police a small space. But when you're in a big space,
100%.
yeah, go live like a nomad. You know something, like the elites, the Zionist, how they've layered. When I was in the bank, right, they used to teach you about money laundering, how you disguise the source, right? Placement, layering, integration. So you would, so you layer it and layer it and layer it and layer it and you hide the source. So let's just say these elites are so good because, like, if you really want to get to the source of something that you're using, dig into it. The dig, and you'll find it leads to the same direction. A majority of stuff all leads to the same direction. So what you have to think of is, if you really want to be free, you have to layer yourself up in so many different layers and locations that it's not easy for them to pinpoint you because you were there, now you're there, now you're there, and then
So
you're there.
basically do what they're doing as well.
Layer yourself up, do what they do. Like you say, it's the defense, but you copy what they've done and you mirror it to the best of your ability. And that's why, again, it says in the Quran, it says, live your life like a traveler. And not because you've got to shift country to country to country, because it just doesn't work practically, but live it like a traveler in that you stop carrying so much weight. You carry weight. You've got everything that's tying you down. I don't have anything. I've got one suitcase with some dresses in it. I really don't care what I look like. Obviously, maybe one nice dress if I've got to go somewhere formal, but I don't care if I wore it to the last event and the event before that, and I'll just wear the same dress so I look fine for that event. You know how us girls used to think, can't wear that, wore that to the last do, got to get a new dress,
For the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's I don't know where it all comes from, but it comes. It's programming, and it's steady programming, and it's not, girls, bless girls these days. Bless girls these days. And the fellas as well. You just got it so tough. You're truly free. You are truly free. All of these measures don't matter. The digital ID doesn't matter. The fact that you probably won't be able to travel very much because your carbon footprint's too big. Think about that one as well. So I think Allah's giving me this whole feast of travel in readiness. for
I
when
heard,
they.
I heard, I heard somewhere where you can buy your carbon tickets
Yeah,
from
it's
other
all about the
people.
money. It's going to be about the money. If you're rich, you can travel.
Yeah, 100%. You can
Yeah,
see that. You can see that. Like you got Prince William. I think he's still the prince. Yeah. He did a announcement about how important climate change is, and is sitting on a plane going to Geneva or wherever it was. He's sitting on
yeah.
a plane to talk about climate change, and then all the rest are doing the exact same for
Yeah.
them he's in a private jet just by himself probably or on someone else. That's it.
Right. So that is itself the picture. If you've got the money, you'll be able to do it. If you haven't got the money, then you're going to live on that baseline. So thinking about that woman, 800 kg, she needs to drop to 180. You'll have a limit
That's
of how
carbon
much.
footprint, people. That's not her weight. Just in case
Yeah.
people are just like 800 kg. Who the hell's weighing 800?
Hold on, because your weight will matter.
Oh, will
That's
it?
all part. Yeah, that's all part of your carbon footprint. Your weight also impacts your carbon footprint because of the effect that you have being a large person on the environment. You're eating too much, you have an impact. You're wearing more fabric than a skinny person. Therefore, you're wearing double the amount of fabric, which production, logistics, all of it. Your clothing has a carbon footprint.
Of course it does, because when you buy it, the way it's made, where it's transferred
Everything.
from.
Remember the VAT scam? Do you know the VAT scandal?
No.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so big. There was a Mr. Singh and he ended up rich. He was really like, it was like at the movies, like this Mr. Blished Singh with his beard and
Yeah.
his suit and his ladies and stuff. And he'd made this money legitimately off the VAT carousel. Basically, they would put a pallet, let's call it a pallet, with like a VAT amount, and it would go in a carousel and back out again. They called it the carousel because the same thing just went in and out, in and out. And it was to do with carbon footprints. Again, it was carbon emission vouchers, and they would get a refund or something. He made millions, and they all did it. And they got put, well, some of them got put away because obviously they very cleverly put this whole operation together. So they had the odd scapegoat. The rest of them got away with the money. They did the time. He came out, and everyone's rich, right? And my point on that was what? Where were we going with that when you said
So it's what? First I was talking about the VAT scandal.
there's all sorts of carbon scandal, whatever.
Yeah.
This carbon footprint, there was a scandal on that, and then people made money out of it, and then they caught up with them, and I can't remember why I was
Okay. That's
going
right.
on about
That's all right.
that in my.
You mentioned that you're financially free now.
Yeah, freedom. I tell you what freedom is. Freedom is when you've got control of yourself, right? There's always going to be mechanisms as technology advances, and there's going to be positives and negatives to it. The carbon footprint element will control your everything, absolutely everything. Forget the digital ID. That's just it's like the lettuce in the sandwich, right? The sandwich really itself is the bread is this carbon footprint excuse of sustaining the environment and your impact as an individual on it. So that's your real control measure. So like if you eat, we're talking about weight, it does matter because, are you fit? Do you work out? What do you eat?
What's ironic about the weight, and it'll be interesting if they did implement this and they looked into that as well. You could be 12 kg of being overweight, or you could be 12 kg of full of muscle, and
Yeah.
on the scales it will still say 12 kg.
100%, right? Because I'm not your classic BMI. If I went down to bag of bones, I'd be 23, 24 BMI. I can't go below that. I've done it. I've lost weight to that level. But when I was like 73 kg, my BMI was 25, 26, which puts me in the unhealthy bracket. But I wasn't unhealthy. I was super fit. So I guess that with the technology, the way that it is, the readers, the scanners, they'll be able to tell. Also, your consumption will tell anyway, because your food consumption indicates, they don't care about you and your physical weight. They're caring about your consumption, what you're consuming and the impact that it has. And if you train, but I guess you can't be like a 2,000-3,000 calories a day bodybuilder. We've got to all be at a sensible. They just want us to be the same, a bit like Hunger Games. We're going to wear, like in prisons where you wear the same. You can't wear anything too colourful because that dye has an impact on the environment. So we're all going to be wearing grey tracksuits
Crazy. How much
made from recycled toilet paper or something.
how much do you think someone needs to be financially free in this day and age? A rough figure.
You
dependent
know what?
on what the life they live. Because I guess someone could be free, but just I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking you the
How much?
question.
I tell you how much I need. I tell you how much I need, and that means if I don't go anywhere, just live a normal life. Yeah, get up, have breakfast, do my thing in my little 15-minute community. I reckon I could quite easily live on. I reckon we could do it on £100 a week.
What? £100 a week? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, but that's based on just a minimalist way of living.
we can, and that's me plus doable. Can be doable, yeah. That'll be me plus, let's say, 3 of my children. I think we could do it. Now, considering that one of mine is a boy and he eats a lot, so maybe not including him so much. But me and my daughter for sure,
Yeah.
£100 a week would be a very absolutely fine. We'd do good. I probably spend on a weekly basis in my local co-op, which is more expensive than traveling down to my Sainsbury's, Asda's, whatever, about £40 a week. And if I was to then add into that some visit to the local meat shop, then I'd probably add in another, let's put 40 quid a week, and then 20 would be my fuel. But I'm talking, don't forget, I don't have any debts. And so if we were to add into that my cost of living, utilities, council taxes, all of that nonsense, put another 500. Yeah.
So
Then so a grand. And that's in Malaysia, if I lived off of a grand, I'd live a nice life, a good life. Hence why I like the thought of being over there, because the cost of living for me would be brilliant. My pound would go that much further, and I'd enjoy something that's cleaner, nicer, fresher, and have sunshine at the same time, and a swimming pool, Yeah.
brilliant.
And a gym. That's all I want.
Same. How does someone get out of the rat race in this country, in the UK?
Difficult one. It's because it's so ingrained. You need the rat race only really becomes a new system when people can become communities and unite with one another and support one another, because that's the only way to win, is when we help each other. Otherwise, at the moment, we're each for our own. And because it's a bit like, look, let's drill it down to something as basic as us Asian families, right? Our parents have kids, kids grow up, kids get married, and we all live under one big roof. Yeah, and everyone's working and they're all pulling money into the same pot. And that pot's building big because everyone's pulling into the same pot. But now modern society is kids get older, they get married, they go live in their own house. And they're all paying the same flipping double, triple, quadruple the same bill. So, all of my kids are paying separate council taxes. They're all paying separate utility bills. Like you say, flying in a single jet on your own, or a whole flight of people pulling together on one flight, right? Same thing. So the only time you can really break out of the rat race is when we all pull together and help one another and do something. Like, for example, I live in this house. I could quite easily rent every single room out. I'd make a lot of money out of it. They'd save a lot of money. I'd save a lot of money because I've got these utilities running. If I heat my house, I heat my whole house for 2 people. It's stupid. So this is where you think, communism or what's happening in China, they see that you don't need that big house, Saira. So we're going to take it off you. And now you and your daughter need that pod over there for sleeping in. And there's your clothes. That's all I need, actually, is really one. This is my space. This is my room. And everything, I've even moved now. Before I had my little studio in one of the other rooms of my house, which is a good 13 by 12 foot. What the hell do I need all that room for? So I just thought, you know what, let me just bring it back to my bedroom. So I put it back into my bedroom. And the more, the bigger the space, the more you live to it, don't you? You expand into it.
Yeah.
The smaller the space, you stay within.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do, is just bring it down. In this country particularly, reel it all in big time. So we can't do the whole communities living together. We can't do the whole families living together because there's too many clashes, because there's too many chiefs, right? And too many
Would you call that
selfish, I wants. Well, how comes she's got an extra foot on her bedroom, and all of that nonsense starts kicking in, and the jealousy and all of that crap comes in, because that's what we've been molded to become. So what you've got to look at is just the immediate, and the immediate is reel in what you've got. Reel in your clothing, reel in your food, reel in your home size, reel in your bloody debts that you've been pushed into and thought that that's the way that that's your rat race, isn't it? What you're rat racing for, think of that. What is it for? Is it for the house? Is it for education? Is it for your kids? Whatever. And then look at what you've got. and how you can minimize it. And I keep saying that, minimize, squeeze it all in to absolute bare basics.
Brilliant.
So lost people are. You know, and even clothing. I think this is where did I get this from? I like this. I can't remember where I got it from. Love it though. Even looking at the whole of England, freedom of speech, I should be able to say what I want to say. Well, not really. Let's just be civilized with one another here. There's a diplomatic approach to every situation, and how you say things has an outcome. So just because you're feeling a certain way doesn't mean that you have the right to speak to somebody a certain way. There's manners, and I think that's a lot of manners has been lost. You would hold yourself back, wouldn't you,
Yeah.
from speaking to somebody a certain way? You would, and that's where I suppose it all goes wrong. But yeah, I'd say people just the best thing you could do is just look at what you've got and restructure what you've got rather than throwing yourself in deeper. Like my Hannah, what she's planning on doing is because her husband works a lot and they hardly see each other. So she's breaking away from that. She's planning on going to Pakistan. She's going to take the kids with her and she's going to go live with the in-laws and she's going to start a business over there. And with the support of in-laws looking after the kids, she can set the business up because she wants a better life. She doesn't want him grafting all day, every day, not seeing him, because that's not what life is about. It ruins the family. You become more and more disconnected. The love dies and you become part of some craziness of serving and paying out.
Yeah.
So work, pay out, work, pay out. So she's like, I don't want this in my life. She's seen a relatively good life when she was growing up. So she's set a plan of action. And things like, even foreign countries, the reason why this country becomes a little bit difficult, this country is still good. I'm not going to deny it. This country is great. And I know that we're sitting in probably the worst place we could be sat in. However, actually, historically, if you look at it, we're in the crown jewel of the program.
Okay.
The crown of the program is this country. This is the leader of the whole pack. This country.
Really? Okay.
100%. Yeah, this country is the leader. Did you think it was the USA?
Yeah, I did originally. Yeah, I did.
It's
I did.
not. We lead the US.
What makes you say that then? Okay, there's some talk that they kind of slowly get rid of the crown.
I ain't gonna do that. No.
So the royal family will always be there.
The royal family are they're the world order.
Hey.
They're the leaders.
What makes you so confident about that then?
Oh, I know they are. They're the actual, you've got the elites, right? And you've got the leaders of the elites. It's the crown. It's our crown. We, the biggest commonwealth, the biggest colonizer, the biggest controlling factor that have set their grip around everywhere, and leaders of the USA as well, because, smart operations never put themselves at the front. They always sit behind, don't they? There's always been somebody pulling the strings in the background. They say that, don't they? The puppets.
Yeah.
And who's the puppeteer? Well, the UK is the puppeteer. We are the ones. So this is the leader when it comes to all of it, when it comes to obviously on this front, and then you've got the other front, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, because they say that some people say
BRICS.
that if you want to see where the future is going, you look what China's doing. What do you think about that?
China's got it all happening. And the thing is, they're like the challenger or the competition when it comes to the elite side, the Western Zionist side. You've got that, and then you've got BRICS. So you've got them being the challengers when it comes to currency, gold, control. But I don't think that BRICS is so newly formed. BRICS isn't really going to be able to overpower, and that includes China as well, because there's so much going on from a deeper rooted perspective that tangles these countries up, and then they have this leveraging power against one another. So why do you think they're all fighting for Africa at the moment? Because Africa has got the mineral, right? And who owns a lot of Africa? The Brits.
Right? Or is it the Brits?
Well, they're together. The Brits, the French, they're together. But this side, you've got the BRICS side and you've got the colonizers side. They own Africa, and Africa's got a lot of the mineral. And so what does China need for its tech? It needs the mineral. So there's always going to be this leverage war that happens above what we see. The war isn't just about, guns and fighting, etc. It's not. It's the currencies, the oil, the mineral. And so that's that next higher level of activity, global geopolitics, that's waking up in my head right now. And I'm talking to people and it starts making more sense. And then when I went to Djibouti, I was like, Allah sent me here for a reason. And I'm looking at this and then I'm looking around and I'm like, this country is like I mean, Africa. You know, for years, they put Africa on the map as a small continent. Did you know that?
I've heard and seen things, but I've never actually delved into it. When actually they said that when you actually draw it out, it's actually way bigger than it actually is, isn't it?
Huge, huge. I think if you put Africa, like everything else looks like that, tiny, 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 and Africa's like this. That's why they went and owned the place, because
Yeah.
it's got so much wealth. And you know, I even think, you know, I hate saying the word black because, you know, if you go back to it, the original Arabs were black. The first hijrah for the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did was to Ethiopia. Right? Then it was Medina.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you think where the map is, you know, you've got the Middle East here, you've got Africa there, you've got the Horn there, you've got the Red Sea there, you've got Saudi, Djibouti, you've got Yemen, Sudan.
Mm.
Why do you think all of this side here, Africa is so wealthy? The Africans are so rich.
They are. Yeah, I've seen that as well.
And it's not just rich, not just their country, but even on a physical level. Who are the successful singers? Who are the successful sportsmen? Who are now succeeding in education? They were the ones. You know, when you think about a playground school bully, yeah? The bully sees the one that's, oh, that person looks, I'm going to oppress. I'm going to tread them down and I'm going to make them nothing. Otherwise, they're going to step over me. And that is what it is in its simplest form, is that white supremacy has become a thing when actually it was probably supposed to be black supremacy, because they are supreme.
Yeah.
In every, like, what the hell have they got in there? What have we got in the bloody West, in Europe? What the hell have they got compared to Africa? And you're talking on every level, on food, on minerals, on culture, on bloody safaris and animals, and the wealth of the earth is so prevalent in Africa. And that's what they want ultimately. When I got there, I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense now. Yeah. Why do they want it? Why have they hidden it? And why are the Saudis investing a lot of money on that side as well? Starting with Morocco. Billions of pounds are being invested because Morocco sits here and it connects up to Europe, doesn't it? Yeah. So they put in a train line. The Saudis have just put £9 billion into a high-speed rail link that connects from, I don't know where it starts, but let's say Marrakesh to Casablanca, Rabat, Agadir, Tangier.
Wow.
Spain, connect. Yeah. And then why are they doing that? They're getting everybody to invest in the Middle East and spend billions of pounds on making amazing cities, which are phenomenal, I have to say. You know, for people like you, young couple, professional, and want a beautiful community environment to bring your children up in, they see that vision as well and they're creating it. Great. But they're then moving on to the next level now and they're putting their money into Africa. That's where it's going. Oh no, it's madness, isn't it? When you look at when you get to that top tier and you start looking at what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like
we can't touch it anyway because we're just simple people on the ground. Yeah. You know, if you can, all you've got to think about in your environment, you young couple, kids, is to put yourself in a space that's going to allow you to do what you do, earn a living, whether it's making bread or whether it's being a professional, whatever, running a business. They quite want that actually in Medina. They want you to go, they want you to open business, they want you to do things. People said to me, oh, aren't you afraid of going living in a completely different country and you don't know anyone? And I'm like, well, you get to know. Look, the minute you step on the plane, you sat next to somebody. And when you come off at the airport, you start talking. You've got a network everywhere you go, restaurant network, go to the gym. Wherever you would normally network.
That's so true. And that's something
it doesn't matter what country you're in, just go network.
100%.
Obviously, I have the advantage of being on social media.
Yeah.
I can network a little bit more. You've got the advantage. Get on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You might not get anywhere fast, but you've got to do something.
100%.
You know, and even if I tell you what I did, right? I made a connection from some woman who picked up on one of my social media content. She was a lecturer. They'd have events. You know, they had a Eid event at the university near where we were staying, but I happened to know her. She invited me along, but it was an open door because they have open Eid parties. And you go around and you start talking to people. She turned out to know somebody that was a movie director that I connected somebody else with. And there was me thinking that the lawyers are going to know. You know, the lawyers, somebody in a higher profession was going to know somebody in the profession, and it would, somebody knows somebody in something.
Yeah.
So whatever you want, whatever you need. Look, if you let's say, for example, I want to open a business. So I go onto Google and I find, opening a business in Malaysia, connect with the person. Yeah, let's talk, go around. So I want to do this. Can I do it? Yep, it's going to cost you this. I'll set your business up. And they set your business up. Now you've just made a connection.
True. So it's just a case of just doing it. Really, that's what the answer is. Just doing it, because all the information's out there. Google's there, Chat GPT's there, everything's there. Okay,
Bloody
cool.
communities are there. Communities are there.
That's it.
There's groups. I went to Sharjah for property related, and while I was there, somebody in the block. So we went to the pool, chat. Oh, we've got a WhatsApp group for the Sharjah ladies. Did you want to join it? I was like, yeah, here's my number. So now I'm part of a community group of women. And all you got to do is shout out. It's how they do it when they come here. Like, I live here in this estate, and there's a Kent Friends. They call it Kent Friends. And anyone new that gets added, some freshie from Pakistan comes along, moves into the estate, somebody will add them to the group, and now everybody's helping everyone. It's really cool. That's how it should work. And what you have to understand is you've got to have tawakkul Allah. And if you have that, doorways open. It's a fact. Rizq, two things in my life that I can tell you I learned later on. Rizq is from Allah, and tawakkul. So let go to it and take what comes on a daily basis.
So for my non-Muslim followers and listeners, what is rizq?
Okay, so this is what I say to the non-Muslim followers is tawakkul is called letting go to the universe, right? And rizq is acceptance. And could you call it manifestation? No, because tawakkul Allah is tawakkul is like when you let go to the universe and you accept what it gives you back. And then rizq is what you receive from the universe. So you accept what is due to you will come to you anyway. You have to still work. You still have to do things, but you don't break yourself in the process chasing something, because you could be chasing the wrong thing. You just, whatever comes on a daily basis, you serve it, you take it, and you go with the flow and manifest the right stuff. That's our dua, isn't it? We pray and we say, help me with this and give me this. And that's your manifestation.
Beautiful.
Without religion.
This is just to help the general people out there. So what options do the following people have to be financially free? We might have already gone over them, but it's just like quick.
Okay, I'll thingy, yeah.
So number one, people who are just surviving. What's the best thing that they could do to be financially free?
I'm pretty sure that nobody is at the level of what I've seen in Africa, right? In this country. So we're still good. So we call it survival, but it's not. Survival is that. So you've got to look at what you have around you and you've got to minimize it. Simple. Simplify everything. Minimize it. Sell off crap that you've got in your house. Liquidate whatever you can. Minimize. You'll soon find that there's a lot, we call it survival here. It's not survival. It's not.
Okay, number two, both parents work 9 to 5 and they have children.
Mm-hmm.
So what can they do to be financially free?
You see, it's really hard for me, isn't it? Because look, it all boils back down to you've got to change your environment. So why are they working 9 to 5, both of them? Why? What for? To pay for what? Right? Is it possible that you could minimize that to one person working? Is it possible? My daughter, she goes to Al Hikmah Academy, right? She's literally, she'll be stuck in class from 9 o'clock until at least 12:30, 1 o'clock, right? And then I'll get her another tutor from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock. That's 1-to-1. Then I get her Quran tutor at 6 o'clock. And in between all of that, she's out playing, doing stuff. And I keep her the hell away from a screen.
Amazing.
And her behavior is so much better. But my point is that, okay, a couple. Yeah.
Both parents work 9 to 5 and they have children. Let's say 2 to 3 children.
What I would suggest is you have a look at what you're paying for. So are you paying for 2 people to work, as in have cars to get to work, fuel to get to work? And if you actually, and then lunches when you get to work, I mean, a good 30% of what you've earned has just been spent on you getting to work. Do you get me? Now, the other 70%, what's that being spent on? Is it being covered? Is it covering your council tax and your electric and your gas? Because she covers that, and then you cover the other bit, right? So let's now take back that 30% because she's not going to work anymore, and you're utilizing that, and you streamline. You've got to chip away everywhere around, and then think like even with your children, they're going to school. If they were at home homeschooling, then you've got a lot of expenses that you would not. I don't pay for uniform. I don't pay for school this and school that and school whatever. I pay £100 a month for this socialist style online schooling, which is very good and it's very cheap. And even at that though, my largest expense, if I was to look at it right now, is my one-to-one tutor. Yeah. That and my cleaner. That's one thing I won't give up on. I don't want to clean.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I swear, that song, I don't cook, I don't clean. I'm definitely one of those girls. I don't want to do it anymore. I've done it. I've done my time. Or I've had 5 kids. I did the whole thing. I'm not doing it anymore.
5
So,
children. All right.
so yeah, what you've got to realize is that you're earning to serve what? What are you spending it all on? Have a look at that. And then if she was at home, how much could you save from her being at home? And how much more can you save around you to make that possible? Even your rent. I mean, I don't know if you rent, you've got a mortgage, what's the drill?
We've got a mortgage. Yeah, at the moment we've got a mortgage, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just going to get uglier. You know that. They ain't going to get
That's
friendlier.
what I want to ask you about as well. You just mentioned what I was thinking. It's going to get uglier with the mortgages.
Yeah.
With how the current financial climate is happening, I feel like they're going to make the mortgages so expensive that it's going to, people are going to suffer even more so on that side. Do you think that's going to happen as well?
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I do.
I feel like they're going to double the prices.
I think they're not going to bring them down. They're not going to bring them down because they need to squeeze everything from every single angle and just really squeeze us intensely. I'm still on the fence about halal mortgages, you know that? Because the halal, what have you got, conventional or halal?
Conventional.
Right, see, conventional mortgages are lower, they're cheaper. The difference is that you're paying interest to the people we don't want to pay interest to, right? That's the only reason why I would say they were not good. But then as a whole, the structure itself of a halal mortgage is very, 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 very similar. It's just Sharia compliant, the wording, the way that it's structured. But it doesn't change the fact that you're still taking a loan and you're still paying an amount of money back for taking that loan. However, having it under the rulings of what, let's say, Islam dictates, it means that there's transparency and it's clear and you're not going to get bitten by it later on. It's not going to be harmful to you, even though it's more expensive. It means that you're complying with the rulings and there's more barakah in what you're doing. So with anything, if that's a spiritual element of who we are, is that we follow what Allah told us to do, and there's a lot of barakah in it. So that's the reason why I would see the halal mortgage being better. But I still, it's so difficult for you guys that you get pulled into conventional because conventional is cheaper than halal, and halal can't be cheaper anytime soon because there just isn't that big enough a shift of people going towards the halal scene because it's more expensive and it's more complicated. And we're so stuck in I'm going to move from my 2-bedroom to my 3-bedroom to my 4-bedroom requirement, need, desire, that we fail to, because the legalities of when you have a halal mortgage become a bit more complex and it's just a bit bigger.
The bigger the house you have, the more complicated it gets?
No, it's just the complexity of the structure itself in the legal recognition that it becomes harder to transact, to exit, and to get into. So if you bought a house with a halal mortgage, it's just best to keep it and pay the debt down and have that one house. Whereas we don't live that way, do we? We live in there's 3 kids in the house now and, we need a bigger house, but we don't really, because what you should be focusing on, period, whether it's conventional or halal, is get rid of the debt. The Sikhs, they did it so well. Why do you think they've succeeded so much in this country?
Because I tell you why. Because they're the ones who sorted out my house, because they learn how to do the trade by hand, isn't it? Like they know how to build, the electricians, the everything. Am I right? Is that what you can say?
No, more than that. You know what they did? Because their parents, right, they came to this country They bought a house. They saw that they were in debt, and they ate dal chawal until they cleared the debt.
So they went to
Yeah.
pure survival mode, living minimum.
Yeah. There's certain things that all I'm saying is that they went to absolute basics, right? And they grafted bloody hard day and night. They made money and they cleared the debt. So now they put themselves in a phenomenal position that every penny they earned was coming in and it was saving.
Yeah.
You see? And they built wealth that way. We don't build wealth. We spend it. It comes in and we spend it because that's the way that we were programmed. I need this. I want this. I have to have this. Look in the mirror. Oh my God, I'm skinny. I need protein. Do you know what I mean? It's such a dumb act.
It is.
Such a dumb act. I'm going to the gym because I work out. I want to be healthy. I'm the same. And then, I'm eating this and I'm taking supplements and I'm spending all my money.
You know what? You know, my first mentor, and this was like 10 years ago, even back then, he said, I only eat 1 meals a day. And the size of his
Oh, mate, I did that. I saved so much money.
The thing is,
we eat too much.
We do. And like, I said to him, oh, but don't you lose size? And he literally rolled up the sleeve of his leg, and his leg was the size of my head. Like, his muscles on his legs were massive. It's like, you don't need to eat as much. And I spoke to a relative that came over the weekend, 2 weekends ago. He's 1 meal a day, and he's like that. He's like, you need to the first month is hard, but your body will tap into the energy it's not using. But just to finish off, we're going to do a quick fire round. So I want quick answers. All right?
Yep. Go on then.
Cool. All right. First job.
Fruit packing.
Yeah. Fruit packing. Where was that in?
I was 14 and it was an agency job, and my auntie came from Pakistan and then they needed to do their work and I was speaking English. So I ended up going on the van with her to pack fruit in a factory.
3 things you can't live without.
There isn't anything I couldn't live without. What could I not live without? I don't need a bed. Food, of course.
Okay, food.
Some of it. Yeah, but I could survive on 1 meal a day. What? There isn't anything.
Nothing. Okay.
I don't think there is. Help me out. I mean, am I missing something?
Children.
Okay, your kids, fair enough. Yeah, but no. Let's be realistic here. If I had to live without my children, I could.
Practical stuff.
Practical.
Okay, yeah. So 3 things you can't live without. That's practical. Like, you just need day to day.
No, there isn't anything. Do you have 3 things?
I'd say food.
Yeah, normal. That's standard.
I'd say community/network. So I wouldn't want to not be able to speak to someone.
Okay.
What else? Right now.
Speak to Allah when you pray.
That's it. Prayer.
Yeah, prayer.
Cool.
That connection. Don't ever want to lose the connection. Once you've got it, you value it. Yeah.
Have you always been like that then throughout your whole life? No. Okay.
No.
So when did that kick in then?
3 years ago.
Okay.
Allah sends the tests, you get your tests, you get your connection, and once you get the connection, then you see the miracles, and then when the miracles happen, that's when you're like, this is staying. I'm not losing this for anything or anyone. I will not lose my connection.
Advice you'd give to your younger self?
Take your time. Yeah. Don't rush, because I was a rush person. This is something somebody told me and he was so very right with it. Don't rush and get it wrong. Take your time and get it right. Yeah.
How long... And I only say this because my first business, it went well, but we couldn't continue because my flat got burned down, which is another experience. And basically a family member said, like, you're trying all these things, it's not going to work. So how long should someone wait until...
You don't wait. I mean, I'm talking about evaluate, still progress, still do, but just take your time and think about it. This boils back down to the knowledge graduate versus the non-graduate. The graduate is going to take their time and they're going to structure and they're going to plan and they're going to think through fully what they're doing before they get into it. Whereas the other one is just going to bulldoze. You might have a good outcome. You'll have a good outcome. It's possible you'll have a better outcome if you thought it through and you took your time.
The impact of spirituality for you?
Strength. Huge amount of strength.
One thing I always ask my guests, because I love books, what's the best book you'd recommend on money?
On money? I've never read any.
Okay, so you've never so any books on money or financial freedom or being free? I'd say your social media is the book then, isn't it?
I've never read it because I've lived it. I lived it as all of these, like Simon Squibb says all what he says and the others say what they say. They're absolutely right. And they've written books on it, which is really great. But I've never read one. Maybe I should write one. But I never thought there was any real value to it until I came onto social media, started talking about it. And it was like, hold on a minute. People don't know this. I need to tell them everything. And it all comes out gradually. Like when we're talking, it will come out. And maybe sitting down and putting it onto paper would be a really good idea. But I never thought that people would want to buy and read a book on it. See, if I read a book on anything, is more to do with spirituality, because you being a certain way, wealth and money doesn't make you. Your soul is you. And how you behave, your character, the way that you treat other people is you. That's your wealth. Making money and being financially free is, you can do that with your head, and you can do it. You don't have to have everything that you think that the world wants you to have. You don't have to go to university and pay thousands and get yourself books of knowledge. Look at all the traveling. All right, that takes money as well. But you hear of people that travel with a backpack and £100 in their pocket and get where they can, and then, go and work in as a waiter and earn a few more quid to get to the next destination. The dunya, the world, is where your knowledge is. And people think that, like gypsy life, used to mock them for living in their caravans and not going to school and studying. But really, they were the freest of us. They got the best life.
I've seen them. I've been to like the traveler area, and like their house is made by hand. It's like amazing. Like they've done it all by themselves. So there's definitely value in that.
Your freedom is your ownership of your time. Your freedom is your ownership of your choices. Like if I choose to go somewhere and do something, that's my wealth. Even if it's basic. I'm not talking about I'm going to get on a flight and go to a beach somewhere. I'm talking just be able to get up out of bed when I want to get up out of bed and take a stroll down to the park and sit there all day because that's what I want to do today. That's my freedom.
Scenario question. You're on your
Yeah.
deathbed. You're surrounded by your loved ones. What's your last meal before you go?
I love halva. Yeah.
For those, because I've got quite a mixed audience, what is halva?
So it's got to be done the right way as well. So yesterday I was, let's just say, it's not deathbed, but I'm sick, right? I'm sick. And all I can think about is, I want to make me some halva. So I melt up some butter and I put some cardamom and some cinnamon into the butter, and it kind of fuses. And I put semolina, fine semolina, some ground almonds, some mixture of nuts. And then I brown it and I pour some milk in, not water. It's got to be pure fat, full fat milk. And you would put sugar in, but I didn't. I put honey in it and I put date sugar in it. And that's all I've been eating. And halva puri, right?
Nice.
But mainly the halva. And it's got to be full of butter, rich butter. Yeah.
Top 3 tips on being financially free.
Okay, so you must understand where you stand. So having full control of the money that comes in and how that money goes out. So you've got to be organized. You know how we said about systems and structures, right? So you can have a teeny weeny little structure in your world. Yeah. So you know that I've got, let's just call it £1,000 comes in, and 50% of that is going off now to my bills, etc. And it should really not be more than 50%. And if there's 2 of you working, 50% of your joint income, and then 30% will be on your needs. And when I say 50%, that includes everything on your budget planner. See, you know what? This is what gets me, is I've written this journal. I need to put it out there ASAP.
You should.
It's digital at the moment. And I was thinking, do I publish it? Because it's activities. Like you could put your numbers in and you go through phase 1, phase 2, up to phase 5, that gets you out of the shit that people have put themselves into with debt, and then puts you in a space where now you can see some growth of what you're doing. And at your age, it would suit you down to the ground. But I need to get on with this whole publishing thing because I was traveling. Anyway, the book itself is really helpful. Uses everything that I learned when I was doing my FPCs. So the main thing is the 3 steps would be, you've got to organize your money in and your money out and know exactly where you stand and put yourself in a position that you've got something to save, and religiously you save and automate the whole bloody thing. So the money comes in, soon as it comes in, zooms out there, they all get paid, organize the dates so that they're all paid out at the same time. Now you've got the flatline balance with maybe £100 like residual. And then your needs. You've got to know how much money you've got to spend this month. Break it down to weekly. Like you've got kids. I'm taking you out once. I can't spend more than this. I'm going to eat once out. It can't spend more than this. My food shop should be this, and it can't exceed that. But start from where your immediate surrounding is. Look at what you've got. And like I said, to look through your freezer. You are doing no shopping until you finish that freezer.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask as well, when you talk about the kids, how do you word it to the kids? Do you say this is our budget? Is that how you say it to them? So they don't feel like, they don't feel like they're poor. You know what I mean? Like basically, recently I said, look, I can't, I don't know if I said I can't afford it right now. No, I said it's too expensive. And then what happened? All my kids were saying, oh, don't get that. That's too expensive. And I think my missus felt a bit bad for them to start saying that. So what do you think about that?
I think with children, you have to put things into monetary value. They need to understand. How old are they?
5 and 7.
Okay, so how? 5 and 7. Do you let them do things like choosing something on a shelf, letting them know how much it costs, and then going to the machine and paying for it themselves?
Not yet.
Things like that. Okay, I tell you, actually, this is really good. This is what I do to my kids. You have to put a value to the money. Now, 5-year-old, 7-year-old, it's still not complicated. Do you know Go Henry?
Go Henry. It rings a bell. No. What's
So
that?
Go Henry is a little bank card,
Yes.
right? So they have chores. So they have to evaluate what they're doing. So for my Hira, for example, I'll say, so you're going to clean the kitchen, you're going to sweep the floor, and I'm going to give you £1. Same as the way we do, right? You got £1. And that's going to go in your Go Henry. So when you go to the shop, you can choose something for the money that you've made.
I think
Now,
the only reason why we didn't go through that, and we were thinking about it, we didn't want chores that should have been done anyway to have like a value in terms of being paid.
Well, they're children, so you know what? It's you can get to the point later. I know exactly what you mean, because once they're mature enough and developed enough, you can say that I do all of this for the system in our house. So now we're all a unit. We're going to help each other. Everyone's got a task to do to keep all of this going, but we don't get paid for it. Like I do your washing. Do you pay me? No. I do this. Do you pay me? No. But I do it for you. And so you're now going to do stuff for me. But when they're little, even things like, you know, the reward boards, they work so well,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, brush your teeth, get ready for bed, all the simple things when they're little kids. So they have to add a value to it. So if you do that, I'll give you 50p. If you do that, I'll give you 20p. Now you've got £1. Now you've got, but also it does, all right, find the chore element, but it raises their awareness to, I've only got £2 to spend when we go to the shops. Otherwise, they're going to be looking at you thinking you've got an endless pot of money and the cash point is free money. You know, they see that on the cash points as well, don't they? Oh, look, there's free money. Do you want to get some money out, Mum?
So,
All right, then.
okay, cool. And this is my signature question. What does health mean to you?
What does health mean to me? The ability to, it's everything, isn't it? Your mobility and your mental relaxation. Like, this is a functioning vessel in every way. So your health is everything in your functioning vessel, because nothing else it's that health wealth thing, isn't it? This vessel is at optimum health, then, and that's collective. You can't really pinpoint it to just my digestion or my body or my muscles or my brain or my mental well-being. Because I suppose, you know what, health is mental well-being, isn't it? Because once you've got the mental side of it, then the rest of it follows.
Saira, thank you so much for giving me so much of your time.
Oh, that's all right. You caught me at the right time.
What's happening next for you?
Exciting stuff. Pakistan is next.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's there seems to be a lot of these charity things that have popped up, and then they come in and I go, all right, then I'll do it. Because I've got the platform, so I might as well utilize it for it to raise the awareness, but also to raise funds. So, you know, to be able to do something good with what you've got. I lose money in many ways. However, I believe that rizq is from Allah, so Allah will take me and what I need will come. So I'm going to Pakistan and we're going to go to the villages and we're going to put in water wells. I mean, something so basic to give. And I learned that when I was in Morocco, out in the desert, Sahara. She's living 4 years in the same spot because there's a water well there. And that's all she needs is the water.
Wow.
Yeah. So to be able to give that minimum to some people in a village where they don't have to traipse. Like even in when we were in Djibouti, when we went to the refugee camps, they had to walk a hell of a distance just to get water from where they dropped the water off for them to get it back to their little space.
Oh my God. And here we are, just a tap.
Yeah. And wasting it at that as well. Wasting it.
Wow.
You see it when you see it. So to be able to give a water well and convenience And that's still a water well. It's like me living here and I have to walk. Could you imagine even having to go out your front door and to the end of your street to go and get your water?
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind to just go out for a walk and get natural light, but I'd say for the majority of the population, they're like, "Are you crazy? Are you insane?" Like, I know people who I've recommended to just go out barefoot on the grass in the garden. They
I
won't
do
do
that,
it.
yeah, a lot.
They won't do it.
Yeah.
They just won't do it. Okay, brilliant.
Madness,
So
right?
where can everyone find you then?
What? Where did you say?
Yeah, then like where on social media, website.
Oh, right. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook.
What's that handle called for those
It's
who
called
don't know?
Saira Hayati, and that is it. Making money makes sense was the original, and now it's and the rest, because the rest is starting to make sense as well. And I'm like, you guys haven't got a clue what's going on.
It's
There's
all
so much
connected.
to it.
It's
So much to it.
all connected, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, inshallah, I hope you feel better.
Until I'm feeling better.
That's good. That's good. All right.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you soon, inshallah.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.